Hi, I'm Norman, and this is my wife,
Ramona. We are Creepy Crafty Creations.
Try saying that 3 times really fast.
Creepy Crafty Creation.
Creepy Crafty Creations.
Creepy Crafty Creations.
That's our grandson, LJ.
He does all of our tech work for us.
We love making
Haunted house and Halloween props.
So come join us and have some fun.
Okay everyone, I'm back with a part 3 video tutorial of the milk jug skull. This part's going to be turning those milk jug skulls into a prop after they've been formed and painted and stained. So we're going for a look like this. It's going to be a column. I'm going to need 2 of them. I'd already did this one. It's not completely stained. I'm saving that section there to show you guys the process of staining it. So I need to make the second one. First thing you're going to need is some type of material to stick your skulls to if you're building a wall prop. I use pegboard. You can use plywood or foam board. I like using the pegboard because it's flexible and it's versatile. I mean, if you need to take it off of one structure and put it onto another structure, you can just attach it with screws. It's got a lot of holes. Some of them are going to be covered because we're spraying some spray foam on here, but that's why I use the pegboard. But like I said, you can use the foam board or plywood. Plus it's the pegboard's a lot lighter than the plywood. And then second thing you're going to need is some spray foam. This is just a regular Great Stuff gaps and cracks. And you're going to need your milk jug skulls, which I have a box of them here. I'd also made some little jack-o'-lanterns out of the milk jugs. And the bird skull that's going on this column, made from a milk jug. And recently I had tried making some bones, so I came up with these. They're made from the milk jug. I just cut little pieces of the milk jug out, enough just to fit around the bone, the model bone. And that's what I came up with. That was the first time trying it. Didn't come out too bad. I'm also going to be placing those in different areas on the column. What I do first is lay down a bunch of spray foam on here. Doesn't need to be perfect. We're just going to lay it down, maybe like 5 to 10 minutes. It'll form a skin over it where it's not sticky anymore, it's not tacky, and you can start pressing it down and fill up more of the area of the pegboard. We're also going to be using this before it completely dries. We're going to be using this to attach the skulls to the pegboard. So I'll be back in about 5 minutes and show you how to make a form out of this. I mean, you could leave it like this if you like that look. I like flattening out a little bit and giving it a little more texture, almost like a grainy texture. I'll be back in 5 minutes. I'll show you that process. Okay, I'm back. It's been about 5 minutes. I added a little bit more in some areas It's not going to be completely skinned over, but I want a little like a grainy effect on it, so that'll be all right. So all I do is I just start pressing it down. There's no really technique to this. Obviously make sure to wear gloves with this. This stuff is pretty nasty. Yeah, that's pretty good for me. And what I do before I start sticking the skulls down, I want to go over this with a little bit of the stain. It's just the black paint mixed with water. Lightly spray over it, trying to get a light coverage. Just trying to get into some of those crevices, so when you come back later after you've glued down the skulls, we're going to be adding some more spray foam around the skulls, inside some of the skulls, and you just want to, it's hard to get to those areas, so you just want to get a basic stain down in some of those crevices, so it's a little bit easier. Alright, so now we can attach the skulls. I had laid the skulls out earlier in the pattern that I liked. Make sure you're pushing them down into the spray foam so they can get kind of stuck down. Okay, I had to change my gloves because they had a lot of spray foam on them and they were getting stuck to everything, so I went and changed the gloves. You see, I've got this pattern pulled up on my other phone. I like the position of these. And then we come back and we do some spray foam around the sides of the skulls. And if there's any gaps that you don't like, you can fill in some of those. And if it's a big gap, you might want to do it in layers. This step is just for pulling up areas that you don't want to be seen, and also it helps attach the skulls down, glue the skulls down to the pegboard. Cam here. Okay, everyone, I'm picking up this project from this point because yesterday I had an issue with one of the spray foam cans that was leaking from just below the nozzle, so I couldn't use that one, so I didn't have any more, so I had to go out and pick some up. So I'm going to pick up this project from this point. I had attached all the skulls to the pegboard, and I didn't mention on the pegboard or whatever you're using, if you're using plywood or foam board, I spray paint the pegboard black on both sides before I start putting the spray foam over it. and whatever size project you're doing, that of course that's the size that you're going to cut out of the pegboard. So this is the shape and the size that I'm going for. It's going to be for a column. Anyways, I'm going to add a little bit more spray foam in here and in here. And then we'll move on to the staining project, which I have another piece already done up to this point, and most of it had been stained already. I did leave a small section to show you guys the staining the staining process. If it's a big gap like this, I usually do it in sections because the foam's just gonna, you try to build up that much, it's just gonna keep falling over on itself. So I'll let that set a little bit and come back and add a little more. I want to get in here. This is going to be the bottom of the column, so you're not really going to see that, but I still wanted to get that filled. If there's any other sections, I don't really see any other spots that need it. Everything is pretty solid. I had also added some bones. I had also added some bones that I had made from the milk jugs. One down there. I used this bone as a model. It was just I was just testing to see if I could actually make some bones. I mean, they don't look too bad. They're not very big, but I'm going to use them on this prop. So I can add some more here. Looks pretty good. Alright, I'm going to let that set up for about 5 minutes, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to try to get some of this and stretch it across. If you let it set up a little bit, and then you can grab it and you can like stretch pieces across, gives you kind of the effect. Hope I don't dump that out. Of like that, there. So I'll be back in about 5 minutes. Okay, it's been about 5 minutes, and if anyone is wondering about the fumes or smell from the spray foam, which I mean I really don't get any of that, but my shop is well ventilated. A couple of feet behind the camera is an 8x8 opening, and there's a blower fan back here blowing the air out this way, and another fan over here blowing the air out, and there's also have an exhaust fan right behind the camera taking the air out of that 8x8 opening. So I'm in a well ventilated area, so I just wanted to let everybody know that. Alright, so now I'm going back. I'm going to try to pick up some of this spray foam and stretch it across like that. That gooey look. And sometimes you might need to tap it down. This might not be ready yet. That area there, it's a little soft. It's not ready. But it's got like a little skin over it. You can pick that up. Try this back here. There you go. Like that. Stretch it across. Let's see if I can pick that up. I'll try to zoom in on that and so you can see, get a better look at that. Right there. So I mean, you can get that effect. You just gotta let a skin develop over that spray foam, and then you grab a hold of that skin and you can stretch it out and get that kind of effect on it. I mean, I'm okay. You're not really gonna see this much of this down here because it's the bottom. But I mean, that looks pretty cool. I got some other areas I had done like that here. Here, you can't see this, but it's some more here. Looks pretty cool. So I just wanted to show you guys that part of it. Everything else is attached down on this. So I'm ready for the staining part of this, which once I get to this point and the spray foam has cured, which is, I usually give it about an hour. It should be fine after an hour. 2 hours if it's like thick stuff. I come back with that same black stain, which is a black paint, cheapy black paint from Walmart, mixed with water. I do a 4-to-1 mixture, and I'll come back and I'll lightly spray on just onto the spray foam areas. And this is just to get into some of those spots, those crevices, and that way you don't use as much stain. But when you do this, you're gonna have to let that dry, you know, for at least a half an hour, I'd say, and then you can come back and do the staining process. All right, so this one I'm gonna let set for, you know, an hour. Let that stain that I just sprayed on there dry. But I have another one that part of it's done, and most of the staining is done. So I'm gonna take this one out, bring the other one in, and I'll show you. I saved a small section of it to show you how to stain it. Let me get rid of this one. Here's this one. It's one I had done a few days ago. Trying to get you the whole effect of it. That's going to be one of the columns. This has already been stained. Some of it I went over a second coat, get a better coverage. You can see this area right here. This has not been stained. It's just been sprayed with that. Actually, this was the brown that I sprayed it with instead of the black, but that's fine. The brown paint mixture stain instead of the black, but that's fine. So the stain I use on these is this one. It's actually a stained polyurethane. It's an early American color. I've already stirred this up, so this is ready to go. Again, I'm in a well ventilated area, so I'm gonna be okay. Let's see if I can turn this. You guys have a better view. I mean, it's not rocket science. You just I use a chip brush. I got a 1-inch chip brush because that's what I have. I mean, if you use a bigger brush, you obviously could cover more. But this also works good to get into all the little crevices. So generously cover all that spray foam. Try to get up in all those cracks and crevices. If you had gotten any spray foam up on the skulls, you can just get a light coverage of those. and I don't go back and wipe any of this off. I mean, if you drop a big glob of it somewhere, yeah, you want to get, you want to take that off of it, but I just let this sit and dry, which I usually leave after if it needs a second coat, after the second coat, I usually leave it sitting overnight or 24 hours to let it dry, because a lot of it gets pulled up. So, you let this dry maybe 10-15 minutes, and then you come back and see if it needs a second coat. I mean, this looks pretty good, covered pretty good. It will lighten up, once you let it sit and dry. It's gonna lighten, the color's gonna lighten up, but this is pretty good coverage right here, and I see a little spot there I'd missed before. But I mean, I'm happy with this look. Looks pretty cool. So that's just, I mean, it's basic, just staining, get all stain up in all those cracks and crevices, and then letting it dry and checking it for another, if it needs another coat. And I mean, you can go back over everything and make sure you're happy with the coverage. I mean, it looks good to me. I'm happy with it. It's going to work for what I need it for. Which I don't think I've mentioned. Or we have mentioned that we use these props for a haunted house. And if these props are making anyone uncomfortable or offending anyone, that's not our goal. All these props that we make, we use in a haunted house, and that haunted house benefits a non-profit organization, which that organization helps disabled veterans. So in no way are we trying to disrespect anyone or offend anyone. So just wanted to let everybody know that. So yeah, I'm happy with that. So once this dries, that's pretty much going to be the finished product of this column, this particular prop. See if I can get back here and give you guys something like that. So I'm going to have two of these on each side of a door opening. That's a way you can use the milk jug skulls on a prop. You can also make a skull pile. Let me get the one that my wife made last year and show you guys real quick. I'm gonna put this to the side, so I'm gonna put it back up here so it can dry, lay flat so it can dry, and that stain don't leak out of there. So this is the skull pile, or pile of skulls, whatever you want, stacked skulls, whatever you want to call it, as my wife made. It's really easy to make. This is just the styrofoam bottom, piece of styrofoam that actually had, might be a lid, yeah, it was a lid to a styrofoam cooler. Actually I had found it, painted it gray with the dry lock paint, kind of seals it in. And then my wife started stacking the skulls, hot glued them as she went up. And then she also ran some lights inside of them. I believe they're orange lights, so it gives it a glowing effect, like a fire effect in there. And then we also went back in some of the areas and put in some spray foam, some of the gaps there, and then stain those to kind of blend it in. But that's another way you can use the skulls to make a prop. Okay, we just wanted to show real quick what this prop looks like with the lights on, with the lights going inside of it. This is the pile of skulls that my wife made. Pretty cool. The lights have like 4 or 5 different functions. Okay, we also wanted to show the skull walls. Alright, there it is, fading out, and it's going to fade back in with the green lights. Pretty cool. So you can make these walls or the skull piles with lights in them or without lights. The two columns that I made in this video do not have lights in them. I'm gonna have an exterior light shining on them, but you can add lights. It looks pretty cool. All right, thanks for watching.